Amatep Oi, red god of the hunt, daring god who sculpted the trees from red clay, who slayed the great dragon and from him carved the whole world. Shedalai Oi, white god of the shepherd in the field, gentle god who led animals into the fields and hid jewels in the mountains. Naira, black god of the grave, patient god who feeds in the world with his broken body and cares for the ever-burning flames in the sky. All you spirits of the town, come out from your dwellings, for now there walks among us the foreign prophet, promised to us by her god, the river Yah. In the sight of most holy Oi, I bestow upon her this temple, and pray that she finds and keeps a peaceful home. I bestow upon her a godly name, Sapphire Oi, and present her to the people.
Within a few hours, the streets started to clear out, and the sky started to flicker. A pale twilight settled in over the city. Now that no one was watching, I turned to talk to John. So...
Yeah?
This was pretty fucked up, huh?
I don't know. I mean, it's obviously fucked up by our standards, yeah.
What do you mean?
Both of us grew up with all this shit where, we had electricity, we had just normal doctors, factories, and they don't have that. They don't have that here. So, as tempting as it is to want to intervene, you have to be really careful. Like, we don't know exactly where we are yet. We could be back in time. We could be, I don't know, I don't know. There's something like just really human about whatever's going on, though. They're doing the same things that a lot of us do. Like, people are still scared of new ideas. People in power try to protect themselves from them. You know what I mean? It's almost like the Cold War. It's like the same kind of fundamental force in human nature that drove the Cold War. That's like driving it.
So you're saying that, I'm communism?
Yeah?
This is America, and,
This is, I think.
Okay, then what's the temple? What are all these idols? What the fuck was that speech? What is this creature? Is this a dog? What kind of dog is that? What is this animal? Is this guy smoking pot?
Does it make sense?
I think you lost me.
Well, okay, I don't know. I don't really know anything about the Cold War, so it's kind of a bad example. I just mean it's like part of human nature, is what I'm trying to say. The things that he's talking about in this idol, it's something that like could be you or me. Like we still kind of wrestle with those same things. In our lives.
Slavery being a part of human nature. So like that's okay, or like what are you trying to say?
I'm trying to say we shouldn't, go back in time and try to fix it because we don't know what the ramifications could be, and we could be back in time.
So we can't do anything about it? Is what you think?
The reason I think that we shouldn't do anything is because I think that we're traveling through time. Okay? And like it's like Ryan killed Hitler I don't even know how many times, and every time he always would laugh about about how awful some of the things that happened after he did that were. Like the weird disruptions he made to the space-time continuum, and I've seen some of them, and I don't want to risk it. I don't want to risk making things worse. And anything that we do here, if this is far enough back in the past, could have like disastrous consequences for the rest of human history.
So you're just gonna let them suffer?
I didn't say. I'm going to let...
How do we know it will be disastrous if we try to change it?
Well, that's the thing, is we don't know. We don't know what the consequences could be.
Well, we'll upset the course of human history if we do nothing.
You were there for all the stuff that happened with Ryan.
That was with Ryan. Why can't we make it better?
I'm just saying it's...
I mean, think about
risky.
what would happen if you made all these people trip. They could really see that they're part of the universe. They would understand what I meant about peace and love. You could make them, see each other as equals.
I've fucked around with people's heads before, and I mean, the first time I did it, I had really good intentions, actually. There was this kid who got kidnapped, and the kidnapper walked into this gas station, and I tore his mind out of his body, and I went through all these memories with him, and I don't know, I thought that I did such a good thing, and so it made me get really careless, and it just started for some people it just, I don't want to risk it.
You know, whatever, John. I just feel like we need to do something. I mean, I don't know what yet, but I'll get there. It would be nice if you would help. I'm gonna go on a walk.
Okay.
I'm gonna see if I can find anything useful. I started walking up the street, not really sure where I was going. Something useful. Something useful. Hey, could you keep it down? What? What's your problem? Are you pointing at something? The barrel? The house? The river? Oh, well, I guess I don't know where else to go. I trudged up a hill towards the sound of the river. The bird looked out through my ribcage. Holy cow! That river's enormous. It's beautiful. I don't think I've ever seen anything like it in my life. Oh yeah? Really? You don't say. I didn't know what the bird was trying to tell me. I wondered if it just liked hearing me talk to it. I don't know who I'm talking to. I'm just saying words in my head. I don't know. I've always done it. Haven't you? Whatever. I can't believe I'm talking to a bird. I can't believe there's a bird in my ribcage trying to talk to me. I'm sorry. Ugh. Maybe I should just go back. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Ow, what the hell? Okay. We'll go to the river. Come on. Wow, look at that. It's amazing. So much water. It must be raining really hard somewhere. I don't know if we should get any closer. Hey, what are you doing? Hey, get out of there! Hey, stop that! No, don't! The bird flew towards the water. I reached after it. My hands started stretching, and the bird dissolved into a mass of light. The raging river swept us away. I tumbled and stretched out, unable to scream, unable to feel my hands, or my arms, or my body, only able to feel the river. Just the river. The crayfish underneath rocks. The river grass bending underneath the powerful current. The factories that spewed muck and tar into the water. Meanwhile, I had lost sight of the bird, but knew that it was closer to me than ever. The bird and I had become one and joined the river.
I heard screams outside in the streets, and so I tore myself up from the bed that I'd made on the ground. Outside, the river was bent like a tsunami, towering hundreds of feet over the city, and only rising higher. Frozen stiff, I watched as people crept out into the street with torches, woken up by the imposing roar of the river. Their thoughts bombarded me with incoherent wonder and dread. I could perceive some of them moving to higher ground, others fleeing the city. A mass of water, writhing and incoherent, lifted into the air and let the rest of the river crash back down, flooding the first few buildings in the town and making their clay foundations sloop over. Shivering, I watched the sky as the water churned and molded itself into the shape of a massive bird and flew over the tops of the buildings, showering us with water. A huge bird. It looked familiar. Its mind felt familiar. Sapphire, is that you?
Yeah, it's me. I'm really uncomfortable right now.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You're flying.
I'm trying to be a bird.
It looks pretty good.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Trying really hard.
It's okay. So hey, I was thinking, I think you're right about us needing to like do something here. I don't think we should just stand back and like.
Yeah, no shit.
So, can you talk right now? Like as the bird, is that like a thing that you can?
I don't know.
Do,
can
or?
You hear me tell you to suck my giant river dick?
It just came out kind of like gurgling, but I heard it in your mind.
Okay.
Okay, so the prophet is in front of the river right now, and he's preparing to like cast a spell, and so maybe I can hide in the crowd, and if you come down, I can make them hear your voice as like a voice in their heads.
Okay.
The beast rises from the river. Oh, spirits, send it.
Sapphire hit him with the full force of her body and hurled him up into the sky. His rock fell from his hand as his mouth gasped for air. Sapphire coiled around him like an immense serpent, immobilizing him from the shoulders down in a great column of water. Slowly and gently she brought him to rest on the ground, calming her mind in meditation. She tried to think of the patterns she had seen in the bark of the tree the other night. The tiny winding canyons and their sap came to life across her liquid skin. Are you ready? Do you know what to say?
I want to tell them to chill out. I want to tell him to just just stop being such a cunt. I don't think they're gonna listen to a voice in their heads, though. I think you need to make him talk.
Well, I can try. I shut my eyes and I concentrated, feeling the boundaries of my mind stretch and expand. All at once, the crowd felt a terrible trembling in the fabric of reality. Their eyes filled with the knowledge of new colors. The boundaries between their minds momentarily weakened as their prophet, an almighty hero who they trusted with their lives, struggled to resist the clutches of some bizarre magic. The flickering of the blue flames in the night sky intensified and filled him with dread. From the column of water, the prophet struggled to seal his mind against the alien force that now pressed in from every side. He summoned every spirit he knew of to his aid, to project a wall against the overwhelming sensation of enclosure, of being cut off from his senses. The prophet's eyes rolled back, his jaw coming loose and his senses coming entirely undone. I struggled to keep his bowels from evacuating into the living column of water that surrounded him, and then worked to form a bridge between Sapphire's mind and his.
Hey guys, it's me, the river god.
The first of Sapphire's words trickled into me. I tried to filter them into the wording of the prophet.
Behold, it is I, Inti, god of the river, provider of fish, bringer of idols and driftwood.
So, I know that this guy over here is your prophet, and he's like, okay, but he's done some shit that kind of pisses me off. And actually, your whole town's kind of fucked up right now, and so I'd like to clear up a couple rules.
Your prophet, Waitelotep, has served you well, but he has done much to anger me. He has deceived you and led you down a wicked path. I have awakened you all here to issue new laws and to right his wrongs. Such new laws you may break at your peril. I looked out into this city, Oi, meant to be the home of gods and men, and I see that some of you believe yourselves to be above others, to believe the women of lesser status, and believe the worksmen and shepherds lesser still. You distort the meanings of the words spoke to you by my prophet, the words peace and love. And so I must issue a correction to you all. I must command you to treat all men and women as equals, no matter their trade, as brothers and sisters, not speaking down to them, giving them all equal respect. Let everyone share a part of his bounty, so that all may eat, drink, and know peace and love. Peace being not order, but freedom, to love, to create art, to enjoy life. Love being not deference and obedience, but nurturing and gentle kindness. And I don't know how to say that part. I can try. What do you mean I'm saying that out loud? Oh, sorry. Do not be afraid of people who aren't like you. Welcome them in with open arms. Lastly, I must tell you something grave and serious. Long ago, your prophet found an idol in the river, which I hoped to reveal to you on my own. Instead, haughtily, the prophet declared a temple for the god and dubbed it the temple of the foreign prophet, fearful that, if someone else discovered the idol, they might be free to learn for themselves the idol's true nature. Many more idols I sent to you, and many more heresies he committed. I even sent you my prophet, and he consigned her to the temple to silence her. I hereby command you to strike the jewels from the crowns of this temple, and all temples in the city, and to let all men and women enter freely. Henceforth, the temple shall not be the temple of the foreign prophet, but the temple of peace and love. And it's got to be like a cool open space where you can do art and, express yourself. And it's no big deal if you get high here, and maybe you can do music there and stuff.
The column of water bloomed outwards into a cascade of rings and lifted off into the sky, before recombining before the eyes of a dumbstruck audience into another titanic bird. Sapphire soared gleefully around the city as the people cheered, flooding the streets to tear loose the jewels from the arches. The prophet panted for air, trembling and bitterly cold. The people who lived on the city's edge freely entered the town, weaving in and out of the temples and homes which they had not been allowed to enter, with cheers of peace and love. In the temple of the foreign prophet, a craftsman brought a ladder that could reach into the chimney spout, urging people to climb up the ladder, and as the river god commanded, get high.
No! It's all ruined. The gods are fleeing the city. You did this. You and that foreign prophet, you've killed my city.
He pulled out a dagger and started to walk towards me, before a child flung a rock at his face.
How dare you? How dare you do this to me?
An arrow landed near him. 3 hunters, riding on the backs of wild-looking horses, sped down the street, preparing to chase him out of town. A crowd of people followed, shouting, "Kill the prophet!" and "Peace and love" in a bloody roar. He tripped and stumbled, trying to escape. 2 of the hunters grabbed him by his arms and dragged him from the town, letting his feet graze the sand of the riverbank. People who'd been sleeping in their beds through the ordeal looked out with horror at the streets below as the jewels that adorned their houses were chipped away. Sapphire flew over my head one last time, spitting in a mesmerizing dance before tearing loose from the river water and letting herself softly glide back to the ground. She looked at me, smiling as she landed before she looked around and saw a group of people storming the inside of one of the tall clay houses, pulling a woman out into the streets. Her smile faded.
Where did the prophet go?
I didn't want to tell her, but she could guess. Staring blankly off at the river, she shook her head.
I thought that...
Her words were interrupted by a loud crash from the distance as blacksmiths took their hammers to the temple of the god of wealth. A team of men carried some of the idols that had fallen out of favor to the river.
Let's just go.
Sapphire.
Don't. Come on.
My name's Timmy Vilgiate. I'm the writer and producer of Rivers of the Mind. I am coming to you live from week 1 of social distancing. Been working on Rivers of the Mind pretty much all week, trying to get this episode to sound like I've wanted it to. In the run-up to this, I was, doing a lot of stuff out in the community, and I was working, I was traveling, and so now I've kind of been thrust into the social distancing thing that everyone else is being thrust into right now. And so this is a really enjoyable thing for me to do, and I appreciate you sharing it with me, whoever you are. And I hope that you're doing well too, and I hope that somehow this has been a nice part of your day listening to Rivers of the Mind Season 3, Episode 4. So anyway, with all that said, I'd just like to thank Sophia Doss for taking the time to record with me the part of Sapphire. I'd really like to thank CJ Hackett as well for taking the time to record The Prophet with me. That's my air conditioner. And I'd like to thank Merriam and Hugo Delgado for contributing their crowd voices. Freesound.org provided our sound effects. If you're an audio drama creator, I highly recommend checking out freesound.org. I also use the Internet Bird Collection as a reference library to kind of build up the bird's speaking voice for this episode. If you want to check out the Internet Bird Collection and support them, they've got a lot of really, really good reference materials about birds and biodiversity. And it's important that we take time to listen to and to reflect on birds, because they're very intelligent animals and they deserve our respect. But with that said, I hope that you have a great rest of your day. I hope that it brings you lots of joy, or I hope that at least you can find some joy as we're all going through this. I hope that everyone who's listening to this is social distancing unless they're listening to it after all of this is rolled over, in which case this is going to seem like a very sad blast from the past, because I don't know, as I was getting ready to do this, I was kind of like, yeah, I could just do it a normal credits, but this feels like it's just immersed in a different time, and so it's an opportunity to kind of, I don't know, I feel like the real world bleeds into art sometimes, in ways that we should embrace. But yeah, so that's what's up. Have a good day. I feel weird saying that, but I really do hope you have a good day. Bye.